inverted, narcissistic, and most importantly, completely pointless. Come waste an hour of your week with The Starting Block, Friday nights Australian time at dlive.tv/The Starting Block. Get in touch with us on Twitter at The Starting Block, no K at the end. Also, subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts or iTunes by searching for The Starting Block, all one word, or on Podbean at startingblock.podbean.com. Join the Blocheads, tuning in their millions, right around the world.
You're listening to The Starting Block on TAVshow.com.
The following program is recommended for mature individuals and may contain material unsuitable for morons, cretins, and dishwipes. If you are a moron or a member of the PTL Club, please turn off your radio, because we don't need any more stupid, narrow-minded, pencil-neck geeks who wouldn't know the First Amendment if it came up and bit them on the butt. Thank you.
Okie dokie, roll 'em!
Nothing to rearrange. Sometimes you just get a feeling like you need some kind of change.
Hey, welcome to the Starting Block for another week. Big show as always. We got Muted Word of the Week. We got updates. We've got story time. Chartable rankings are returned. All that, much more here on the block.
Standing tall on the wings of my dream. Rise and fall on the wings of my dream. Rain and thunder, wind and haze, I'm bound for better days. My life, my dream, nothing's gonna stop me now.
It's Greeno here from the Starting Block. On behalf of the block, we just wanted to let you all know that we're all in this together. Well, except if you have coronavirus, then stay the fuck away. But in every other situation, we're in it together. To all of you on the front lines, those of you turning a footstool, a wok, and a pitchfork into a home gym, those of you who have given your housemates a mental breakdown because you decided lockdown was a great time to learn the keyboard and the only thing you can play after 8 weeks is chopsticks over and over and over again. And those of you who are homeschooling and are now understanding the question you used to harass your maths teacher with of, when the fuck are we ever going to need to know this in the real world, is coming back to bite you on the ass. Just remember, like a 1990s Australian sitcom, we're all in this together. The days may be long, but in times like this, you can rest assured we will be here to waste an hour of your week, Friday nights Australian time, at dlive.tv/The Starting Block. So take care, social distance, whack on a mask, and subscribe to our show on iTunes. It may not cure coronavirus, but it sure will help us with our rankings. And isn't that really the most important thing right now?
Приємно.
Public Radio's Loss is TAVshow.com's game. You're listening to The Starting Block.
Welcome to Starting Block for another week. You've got myself, Greeno, and I'm joined by a man who also no longer wants to be referred to by the name Bomb. My co-captain Damo. How sir?
Very good, Greeno. Good evening to you, Blocheads, listenership around the world. Good to be back. Another week. Back in the chair, Greeno. Good to see you again, buddy. What's been going on? So who's bombing these days? I don't know. I wasn't really listening to your intro.
Nah, that's it, yeah. Basically phoning this bad boy in, to be fair.
Yeah.
So the Bureau of Meteorology decided here's an important thing we need to do this week. Instead of like getting the weather wrong constantly. We're in the middle of like natural disaster, like floods everywhere.
It's
like
true.
the world's kind of fucked at the moment. For some reason, someone at the Bureau thought, here's a good idea. Let's put out a press release going, we no longer want to be referred to as BOM, B-O-M. We would rather the name the Bureau or our full name, the Bureau of Meteorology. Probably need to get the priority straight to begin with. Like, no one gives a fuck.
Dick!
Hey,
secondly,
you know what, Greeno? I'm almost tempted. Like, this is the biggest dick move. Like, if you get pulled over by a cop or something and you say something like, you know, my taxes pay your salary, right? That's a dick move. I would be tempted to pull the my taxes pay your salary to the person who says, look, excuse me, from now on, can you please refer to us as the Bureau?
The Bureau.
You know, no. I'm going to refer to you however the fuck I want.
Fuck we want.
And right now, it's dickhead.
Dickhead. Exactly.
What are you going to do now? The Bureau of Dickheads. We'll call you Bod from now on.
Yeah, whatever you want. Which one's better, cuntface or bomb? Either way.
We'll do like Bart in that fucking episode of The Simpsons in the horror episode, and it's like, you know, remember when he renames America to Bonerland? Yeah. We'll call you the Bureau of Boners from now on. That's you.
The fun fact is, not surprisingly, the reason this happened, they hired a consultant.
Like one of the Bobs, Greeno.
Yeah, so anytime anyone gets a consultant involved, it's like someone's cousin who's charging exorbitant prices, who doesn't actually do anything.
He's like an independent contractor or something.
Yeah, independent contractor that they've got in. Like, look, what can we do? Like, why you need a consultant at the Bureau of Meteorology is beyond me. Like,
well, because I guess...
Just tell us the fucking weather and move on.
Because I guess their workplace is no different to anyone else's, and in fact, they do talk about the weather, Greeno. They need someone else to come in on the weather conversation. Now, what do you think about the weather? What's your opinion? How should we present the weather? Imagine where I wonder what people who work at the Weather Channel do for small talk. Do they talk about fucking each other's wives and stuff? Because, you know, everywhere else weather is small talk. But at the Weather Channel, the roles are reversed. So the work talk is weather, and I guess at lunchtime you talk about anything else,
anything other than what's happening.
Yeah, you know, like for example, at your office, you'll be like, you know, you're in the kitchen or whatever in the coffee room, and someone's like, "Geez, I hope it stops raining before we have to go catch the bus." Yeah. But at the Weather Channel, they're doing the weather all the time. They come in and go, you know, I ordered a 12-inch fucking rubber dildo last night. You should have seen. This thing rips my asshole apart. It's incredible. Really? Yeah. Okay. Well, back to work then. Okay. Well, look.
Back to it, Jim.
I think it's going to be raining when we try to get on the train tonight.
93%. Yeah.
All right. Nice, Gary.
Nice, so that's that one. Damo, I know you've got a muted word of the week you want to start the show with.
Yeah.
But if I can I put a quick impromptu word of the week that's just popped up in the last couple of hours?
Oh, sure. Go for it.
I've had to mute the word Taylor Swift. Because what's happened is Taylor Swift, it looks like she's dropped an album about an hour ago.
Sorry. Can I interrupt, please? Can you please?
Yes.
Now, you and I are roughly the same age, are we not?
Correct.
Yeah. Are you a bit older than me, or am I a bit older than you?
You're older than me.
I'm older than you. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, so as you're elder then, can I strongly recommend that you don't use phraseology like, for example, dropping an album. You are not, my friend, a 25-year-old disc jockey on FM radio anymore. Okay, those days are long behind you.
I went on the Google machine and it told me she dropped an album.
I saw it on the Facebook screen.
On the Facebooks, 100%. It's all over the internet.
Yeah.
I logged
Taylor
on
Swift,
MSN and they told me that Taylor Swift has got a new album.
What is he, a linebacker?
And my word, has it fucked up my timeline. Once again, just for our new listeners, we have a strict rule when it comes to Greeno's timeline.
Yep.
So we've got
three rules.
Three rules. That's all I want to see in my timeline. We've got sport, we've got 80s, 90s movies. And tit.
And tit. That's all you're interested in.
Anything outside that circle, I'm not interested in.
You block.
I'm going to mute you. That's the rules.
You don't block, but you do mute. You know,
I mute. It depends. If you're trying to sell me something, I'll block you. But if you just say something I don't want to hear, I'll mute you.
just mute you. Just put you in the background. Nice.
Put you in the
Gary.
background. Don't want to hear it. You don't want to hear any politics. Don't want to hear any Taylor Swift stuff.
Yeah.
And I also don't want to hear what your muted word of the week is. Well, I want to hear what yours is, but I don't want to hear the word on my timeline. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, I reckon Taylor Swift then, because I haven't really been on Twitter the last couple of hours. If you've muted after 2 hours, then it must be bad.
Oh, man, it's brutal. It's brutal.
Just
Now, here's
must
the thing with
be
Taylor Swift.
fucking a torrent of wall-to-wall publication, and it's not like it's one story either when these things happen, because it's the same kind of thing happening with my muted word of the week. You know, it's the same offensive.
Can I quickly pause? This is a bit of hot goss off the press.
Please.
As I just jumped onto Twitter, suddenly in the right-hand column of what's happening, because the what's happening doesn't mute words.
Yeah.
This is the headline: Taylor Swift's Midnights heralds the return of a pop music mastermind.
Nice, Gary!
Bro, like Taylor Swift is one of those people similar like your Biebers or whatnot, that no matter what she could release an album of just her breaking wind, and her fans like, it's brave. It's brave, but this is what Tay does. Like, we love it. This is unheralded. No one would be brave enough to do this other than Tay, and it'd fucking go to number one.
Yeah, no one's brave enough. No one's brave enough to soil the internet community with their fucking PR excrement dribble more than Taylor Swift. Oh no, sir. Au contraire, I give you Meghan fucking Markle.
Meghan Markle. Ah, yes.
Yeah, Meghan fucking Markle. I think, Greeno, myself and probably most other people, before Meghan Markle became the wife of the prince, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before that time,
didn't he hand away his
I don't know.
his
Who
title?
cares, mate? Fuck him.
That's the point. That's why we're muting shit.
No, so he, before she got herself into that situation, I think myself and probably yourself and I think most other people had the following kind of general opinion of Meghan Markle. It was, okay, she seems nice enough and she's pretty cute. Good on her. All right, good stuff. Nice, Gary.
Nice,
Yeah, well done.
Do
Well
whatever
done,
you gotta
mate.
do. She was on
Quality pick up from the
Suits.
runner. He's done well.
Yeah, she was on that. Suits was a pretty successful show,
Yeah.
So, good luck to her. And that was about it. But now Meghan Markle, and I think what you're seeing here is Taylor Swift, Meghan Markle. These are all kind of symptoms of the same thing. Like, I think about, Greeno, that the internet has given us so much, but I used to think that it was good that we're connecting people and we're breaking down barriers and we're opening communication that's never existed before and sharing and all that beautiful stuff, progressing humanity, all that shit that I love.
Yeah.
But I now am very close to recanting all of that.
Taking it back. Doing a take backsies.
Yeah, maybe I'm thinking about it because we now live in the age of the publicist. This is the publicist's heaven and it should be hell for the rest of us.
Yeah.
Because the publicist now has access so many different ways to fucking invade your brain, invade your news space, invade it's the radio or fucking podcast advertising or a podcast in Meghan Markle or fucking anywhere on social media. It's just relentless. Now, I've put up with a lot on Twitter, and I do so because Twitter is such a glorious hellhole of fucking dingoes and dropkicks, Greeno, right? That you can't turn away. It's beautiful. There's so many fucking idiots on this website. You just have to be a part of it and mingle with them and rub shoulders with them, and say hello. But I've had to now mute Meghan Markle because it has been years, Greeno, 2 years constantly. She must have spent the annual fucking taxation earn of a G20 country in the last 12 months alone just on fucking publicists getting her. I've never seen anyone work as hard to stay in the news as Meghan fucking Markle. And I don't, look at this shit, man. Meghan Markle demands actresses who play her show, Meghan Markle demands actresses who play her show off her softness, playfulness, and dimensions.
Nice, Gary!
What are we dealing with here? And I take
fair request,
sympathy with your Taylor Swift thing because it's the same issue we're talking about here. It is
Too much.
It's too much. You just have to start muting this stuff. You have to get it
You
out
have
of your
to.
life.
There was if we go back to the good old, like, I hate using
It's
the phrase
spam.
good old days.
This Meghan Markle news and Taylor Swift news and whatever, and anything in that similar vein, where it's a wall-to-wall onslaught. You know that you can only turn up in every single major publication for a different reason in each of them, okay? Because it's possible to be in the news all the time if you're doing one really bad thing, like you're a serial killer or a rapist, or, you fucking land on the moon. That's another example of when you'd end up in all the news.
Correct.
Yeah. But if you can manage to be in all of the newspapers and all of the fucking editorials, but for different things, like, oh, look, here's Meghan Markle talking about her softfulness and playfulness. Here's a story about Meghan Markle sending back a lasagna in the royal kitchen. Here's a story about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle doing a podcast and then not doing it. Here's the story about their Netflix show. If you can get that all happening at one time, that means that the person has spent a large fucking fortune on publicists and PR people to just go out there and spit shit out to all of their little leeches that exist in the media. It's disgusting.
Can I offer a counter?
And that's why we should destroy the internet.
Nice,
I like stories about
can I offer a
pinatas.
counter argument to that particular point? So I was reflecting back to the pre-internet days, right?
Yeah.
So if you wanted to understand what was going on in the world, you had to go searching for it through the very minimal mediums you had.
We had to watch Hanging with Mr. Cooper to understand race relations, and I think it worked out fine. Don't you?
And Urkel. We had Urkel.
We had Urkel.
We had Mr. Cooper. That was it.
Yep. Hanging with
it was
Mr.
solid.
Cooper.
Occasionally they do a Saved by the Bell episode
Yep.
where, they talk race. Exactly. So that, and you also had the magazines you had to purchase at the supermarket.
That's true.
So you had your TV Weeks, your Women's Days, your New Ideas, etc., etc.
The gossip mags.
The gossip mags. Now, if you reflect back to a kid and you remember seeing the Women's Day magazines and whatnot, what was on every second cover? Princess Di.
Yeah, that's
So,
true. Yeah.
What happens is, for some fucking crazy reason, and it was proven by when Dead Queen Day, as to
Queen Day.
how many people gave a fuck and how many tributes and articles and shows they managed to create. There's this weird kind of obsession with the royal family for God knows what reason.
And look, hey, I can understand English people. I can understand 100% English people being very touchy about the Queen, because you know what? That's your fucking Queen. I get it, man. We were a penal colony on the other side of the world.
Criminals.
We were the criminal trash from your empire that you didn't want to deal with in the kingdom. So, when Pommies especially, and I'll be fair, I'm a monarchist, but it's not because I love the royal family. It's because I don't trust any of the current politicians to fucking write a constitution, Greeno. I don't want you involved in this. Can you imagine Bill Shorten or fucking Josh Frydenberg writing the constitution, Greeno? Would you want to be involved in that? No,
definitely not.
You know what? It's not perfect now, but it's fucking good enough for you to not fuck it up. It'll do. It's like when a steak comes back and you go, oh, look, I asked for medium rare, but it's a bit on the medium side. Would you like me to take it? No, it's fine.
No, because you're going to send it back and you're going to have to make it charcoal and someone's going to spit on it.
That's right.
It's the equivalent. The Constitution will be someone spitting on your steak. I guarantee it.
Our current political situation is the equivalent of a disappointing steak at a steakhouse.
Yeah.
And that's good enough for me. Hey,
it's fine. We'll take it.
Works. It's fine.
Everyone's a winner.
Absolutely.
But my point is, I think any stories about the royal, I don't think this is all Markle. I think there's a lot of, hey, we need clickbait. We need clickbait.
But
anything that's
no. I would agree with you, except the Meghan Markle stories do not get any traction. They don't go viral. Nobody's paying attention. It's just that they pollute the internet, but nobody's retweeting it. Nobody's engaging with it. If you look at anything that comes out about Meghan Markle, it's 90%, 95% in the comments, Greeno. Fuck this bitch. Who gives a fuck? Nobody cares. Everybody fucking what the fuck is this? This is not news. And it's just been going for like 3 years now, constantly.
Yeah.
How much money? Like, I can understand, like I said before, I can understand the English getting touchy about the Queen. Guess what? This is your new fucking royal family right here. How much money is she spending just trying to be popular in America?
Why
Nice,
don't
Gary.
they just getting a cent? Because they're doing it for her for free.
No, this can't be free. This can't be free. This amount of publicity for this amount of time can't be free. I reckon she's got the world's fucking expert. The lovely lady Boogs showed me a clip the other day of her podcast, right? I've never heard her podcast before. I think she's done 2 of them and she's been paid like fucking millions of dollars to do it.
Fucking
Mind you.
give her a fucking nice Gary. How
Nice
did we get
Gary.
that deal?
Nice, Gary.
Good on her.
I guess you got to fuck a prince, Greeno, to get that.
Nah, see, I'm
Or
all
is
right.
it have sex with a toad? I don't know. One or the other.
Either way, are we willing to make that sacrifice? For
No.
how much?
No.
Mm,
But she
Nah.
showed me a couple of minutes of this podcast, and it's edited. It's pre-written. It's not a podcast like we're doing now. It's not like let's hit record and talk. You know,
yeah.
it's like an audio book, and you can tell, you can hear. You know, when you can listen. You and I have been doing this for a long time, right? If I
Yeah.
splice something out of this podcast, Greeno will notice it because it doesn't sound right. Like the way that, you know, the last word fucking ends and the next word starts sounds off, or you can hear the change in the clip and whatever. Her fucking podcast is constant. Like, it's like every sentence ends and then it's like a new clip starts. And you know when you can tell when it's been fucking chopped together?
That's not her fault. That's her producer's fault.
No, I don't know whose fault it is, but again, I shouldn't even know about it. And the reason
you
that I
listening to
do
it?
is
When the
because,
lady-
and that's
Mum-
why I've muted it. Yeah,
No, to be
Meghan
fair,
Markle.
no, I need to pull you up on this.
Yeah.
Because when my wife tries to show me something that I know I'm going to have no interest in, I just walk away, dude.
Well, no,
Like, the
I
fact you
kind of
listen
thought
to
I
it,
had.
That's your problem.
What? Okay, nice, Gary.
Nice,
So you're
Gary.
saying I should have muted my wife then?
Yeah.
Okay.
So look, wait, what are you showing me? Meghan Markle. I don't fucking give a bell. Go
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to hear it. Let's move on.
Yeah. I mean, you know, this is the advice I get from my best friend. Just putting that out there, by the way.
Accurate.
Hey,
bro. Accurate
listen.
advice.
Hey, listen, why don't you tell your wife who's recently given birth to your first child, why don't you tell her to go fuck herself when
Yeah.
she tries to show you some podcast?
Well, she's trying,
Why
no,
don't you
well, it
do that?
depends what she's trying to show. She's trying to say, like, pictures of the baby. Excellent. Listen to that. But she's trying to show you Meghan Markle podcast. Well, I think you're well within your rights to go fuck yourself, man.
to be fair, we heard the Meghan Markle podcast because she was actually showing me a clip from Kyle and Jackie O where they were
Oh, well,
kind
that's
of.
even more of a reason to sell her to go away.
Oh no,
you-
Kyle,
if you
Kyle,
got a
Kyle and Jackie O
combination-
are all right.
You
I don't
seem to
mind them.
like them, but I think they're terrible.
You
A
know.
combination of the double up. You've got a Markle inside of Kyle and Jackie O. Well, that's a double fucking
Yeah, no, well,
double
that-
muted.
well, no, and then Kyle was like, Kyle was kind of like, who gives a fuck about this idiot, you know? Like,
And
so,
he gives a fuck because he just played it on his show. Much akin to what
Well,
we just
and
did
what we
for
just
the
did
last
too.
12 minutes.
but I am now in this space where I'm happy to confess that I have now muted the words Meghan Markle. And look, I'll show you the system is working because you sent me this link in for the rundown, right? So I've opened it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to see this. It's because I've got the
Yeah.
direct link. Now, if you look here in the comments, look at this. The first comment, yes, it's important that you're portrayed by someone who mirrors your subjective self-image. And then this tweet includes a word that you muted. So someone's written Meghan or Markle in a reply, and I don't
Nice,
have to
fucking-
fucking look at it. Look at that.
Very
Nice,
good. Nice,
Gary.
Gary.
The
Nice,
system
Gary.
fucking
I'm telling you,
works,
man.
Greener.
Telling you, he's got to mute this shit.
Oh,
Well
hang on.
done.
It's not on screen. There it is. There you go.
There we go.
So,
Nice one.
yeah, there you go.
All right,
Muted word of the
Damo.
week.
Quick story time, if I can.
I like stories about pinatas.
Now, we've had this saga for, 3 weeks now, my office saga.
Oh,
where
this is a cracker of a story.
the office saga. Now, I think we're up to last week where first we had...
This is our
coerced-
longest running story, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't think we've
It's
ever had a 3-weeker, you know.
3, I think it's going on 4 weeks, to be fair.
Really?
It could be-
Can't wrap it up
could be
tonight?
No, we are wrapping it tonight. It's all good. It's
No, no.
ending tonight. So
No, you're only saying that now so you can hang on for the suspense at the end and go, well, you'll have to hear more about it next week.
Hear more next week.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the coerced consent
I
to
know
have
your
to
tricks.
register to a mandatory work attendance event. Then last week they tried to say, oh, no, you've now got to download an app to an event that we said is mandatory to come to.
You need to
But then-
download this app to come to the mandatory work event. And then if you open the app, it says, hey, I'm going to need access to your text messages, your contacts.
all those kind of things. Spot on, 100%. And I said on this show last week, well, first of all, I'm not doing it.
bastards.
And secondly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and download that app on the work computer.
That's right.
And then when IT pulls it up,
Yeah.
then I've got a reason to go, hey, I didn't download the app.
Yeah.
So
More than
what I
that,
think.
you've got a reason to jump up on the desk at the Christmas party and proclaim yourself as the savior of the office. Hey, guys, nobody has to download the app. Look, it's dangerous. You shouldn't fucking have it.
Nice.
And
100%.
management would obviously applaud your heroic effort in investigating this and
Sure
give
they
you a
would.
promotion.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
Absolutely.
So Monday morning, logged on in, tried to download the app on the work computer.
Yes.
Unfortunately, unable to do so. Now, not because of an IT issue. It's the
Okay.
fact that this one is only downloadable to an Android device. Work laptop is not an Android device.
Now,
I will
you
fucking
have an Android device, don't you?
Now, I do have an Android device, but
Oh,
once
boy.
again, that's my personal Android device.
That's right.
So I'm like, well, fuck, what can I do now? Because I can't justify. I can justify not downloading it, but I can't go with Plan A. So I'm like, well, let's go back
Because
to
your original plan is to say your original plan is Plan A, and that's like that is the ultra aggro one. That's the one. That's the Hail Mary pass. That's the throwing a stick of dynamite into the cake at the Christmas party, and that's the one where you say, no, I don't want your fucking app on my personal fucking phone, and
Correct.
fuck you. And like you are well within your right to do that. Don't get me wrong.
100%.
But the thing is, it's confrontational, and you will be creating waves, and then something's
Yeah.
going to happen, and it's like you have to weigh up: do you want to deal with that?
Mhm.
As opposed to that's always the leverage that they have. It's like, okay,
That's what happens.
do you
Yeah, you
want
don't
to
wanna
deal
look
with
like
the
shit.
shit, the fallout
Yeah.
of you not complying with this? Yes or
Spot
no?
on.
You know.
Well, side story, insider story.
Okay.
They introduced about 3 years ago mandatory shutdown for our work, right? Because they were trying to get their liabilities lower by people using annual leave when it was convenient for
That's
them.
right, because you had all
So
this
they said-
overhanging fucking debt looming with people's holidays and stuff.
People's holidays. So they said, oh, Christmas shutdown period, everyone's got to take this period off. And I read my contract and I'm like, well, it doesn't say it in my contract. So fuck you, I'll work. Like, you still need people here. So I'm just going to work.
So you pull
And-
that. You every now and then you do get a situation where you have to decide which trigger to pull, and you're like, all right, this one is one. Yeah.
Because that costs me money. Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, why would I take the Christmas is the quietest period in my work. Why would I take that period off when I do like a quarter of a day of actual work? I'll do it when it's busy. Like I'll take leave when I want to take leave. So I'm like, there's nothing contractually, but they never pull me up on it because they know I'm a loudmouth and they know that they can't force people to actually take this leave. And if I arc up about it in front of the whole team will be like, fuck you, man, I'm not taking leave either.
Yeah.
So they just let me work every Christmas because they don't want to create they don't want me creating.
Well,
ruffles.
and how many do you have under you? It's like 4 or 5, yeah. So
I got 10, yeah.
10, fucking kicking ass, man. So that's like whatever direction you take in your fucking team meetings and stuff, whatever you decide to put to them, they will follow, you know. And that's you're right. If you turn around and say, no, this app shit is bullshit and we shouldn't be doing it, if you make a stand in that, again, you would be 100% correct. And then again, the higher ups will have to consider, well, hang on, is he becoming a problem now? Because
It's a problem. Exactly.
yeah. And then what happens, you know, what can happen to you if you become a problem? Well, I guess problems can be created as well, can't they? You know, so not saying anything unprofessional or whether, I just mean as a function of, well, you've now put a barrier between yourself and like upper management. And,
100%.
and it makes
that's why
things
you gotta
difficult.
be-
That's all.
Yeah, that's why you've got to be kind of like clever.
Political.
Which is
Yeah.
yeah, you got to play the political game a little bit, which is what I've been doing with the whole app thing. So once again, signed up, responded, and put NA for everything in the form because I didn't agree to having all the details there.
Yep.
And then with the app, I'm like, fuck, what am I going to do now? Because I've run out of options. Then I went back through a whole batch of email trails about said event, and I found that on one of the emails, it said, to
Fucking
attend
forensic. This is what happens when you pick a fight, by the way, with a forensic accountant. This is what they do. This is what they do. They go back.
I'm the dude that asked why. Like, hang on, why do I have to do this? Most people are like, okay, I guess I'll download the app. I guess I'll give you all my personal details just to attend an event. You're telling me I have to come.
Yep.
Whereas I'm like, well, hang on, why do I have to do that? Like, you told me I had to be there.
Well,
Like,
I
if
mean,
it's optional,
what I mean
then
is
I'll give you
like,
the details.
if there's a disagreement at work, you'll show up the next day and go, look, I've just run a couple of things through the system and I've done a couple of numbers here. Here are 7,436 reasons why you're wrong.
Why?
Like,
Exactly, 100%. That's what
email number 1. You said on the blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Email number 2.
Yeah. So I found this email which said, okay, the event's here. It's on this time. You have to download this app. But here is your QR code to be able to get into the event.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hang on, whoa. I've got the QR code already on an email printout.
Yep.
That has none of my details.
Scan that shit. Good to go.
So I'm like, what I'm going to do is I'll print that off, not download the app, and then I'll deal with whatever I have to deal with at the event.
Yep.
Because at least I know I can get into the event by having this paper scanned
Yes.
to get in there.
And you also know, you do the math, right? And you do the probability. You are a fucking forensic accountant. You would have done the math and you would have thought to yourself, well, if I show up with this thing and it doesn't work, 99 times out of 100, whoever's working the door is just going to walk me the fuck
Let
in
me in,
because they don't
100%.
want to deal with it either. So,
Exactly.
yes,
So,
nice Gary Greeno.
and that is pretty much what happens, sir. So I arrive at this stupid fucking event. Side note, 3 hours to get into this fucking stupid thing.
They're really
On the
making it
train.
worth your while, aren't they?
It was brutal. So 3 hours tracking on in. Now I had the option. I could drive in and it took me about an hour and a half. But then
Yes.
I looked up like parking in the city was going to cost me about $100 and I would have had to pay for petty and it would have had to deal with like city traffic.
Yeah,
So I'm
you
like,
know
fuck
what?
that.
I still drive in every single time. Fuck, I hate public transport. The
Well,
smell of urine on the way to
Nah,
work is
see-
not something I want to suffer unless it's my own, Greeno.
Public transport on a South Coast train
Yeah.
where there's no one else on the train was tolerable. 'Cause
You
I
just,
put my-
yeah, on the
I
South
put
Coast
podcasts
trains.
in,
On
and,
the,
and I just put my feet up and relaxed. It was all good.
on the South Coast trains, you just have people who are training into the city for work and people who woke up on the train the next day after falling asleep drunk on the beach. That's
Spot
it.
on.
And they're
That's it.
traveling back to
That's what we
Sydney
got.
too. Yeah.
They're good people.
That's it.
They're the people I want to hang with.
They're all right.
So make it on in after 3 hours of tracking on in. Now, thank God, I refused to go in early. Like I said, okay, if you're going to make me go in, I'll go in during work hours. So that's 3 hours during my work day, paid for. So they had to pay me for that.
Your
So I
little,
did
your little
actual
fucking
work.
after party or whatever you've got planned for 6 p.m. onwards, count me out because I'm heading
out,
back home.
But you just paid me 3 hours to do zero work. Well done. Tip of the hat.
Yes. Nice, Gary.
So,
Yeah.
arrive at the venue and the line is massive because I didn't realize how many people work for our thing in New South Wales.
Well, you don't see them anymore. You're all at home.
We're all at home, exactly. So get there, and then but I see people at the door ready to fucking scan.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay. But they're telling people download the app, download the app, download the app. And I'm like, well, there's enough people walking in at the same time. I can walk right past these fuckers. We're all good. So I did that. I just walked right past them, walked straight down the escalators, straight into what I thought was the venue, without having to download the app. I'm like, fucking, we got to win here. But then I get to the door. There's a door down the bottom. So they've told people up front, you got to download the app, and then you go down the escalators, and then you do blah, 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 blah.
What
Because
is this,
people-
Greeno? Is this like some fucking witch hunt or something? Is this like a tunnel of love? What is
It's
this?
fucking
Is this
insane.
like that scene from Goodfellas where they walk through the whole restaurant, with one shot?
It's pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much. So I get down to the bottom.
And then he kissed me.
So I get to the bottom of the stairs, and there is where the lady's like, tickets, please, show me the app.
Tickets,
Like,
please.
I've got to scan your QR code. I'm like, oh, you need my QR code?
Yeah.
And
Whip
out
out
of
the
my bag,
paper,
I
Greeno.
pull out the paper, and the lady is looking at me like I'm a fucking alien. She's like, she just smiles, looks at me, laughs, and scans my paper and lets me in the fucking door.
Hey!
So at this point, I'm like, well, now the only thing I've got to deal with is whatever they like. This app must be important because if all they needed was for us to get in the venue, that seems a very unnecessary task to have access to my messages and my photos and all that kind of shit,
It
right?
doesn't it?
So the whole event must be predicated around this fucking app.
Oh,
And-
you reckon this is like a product launch or something that they've
Maybe
forced you to
something-
engage in?
Something's got
Now,
to be involved.
let's
like,
go
this is
back to
activity.
last week's show, Greeno. Remember I said to you that there is a chance that this could be like a prelude to just becoming like a future fucking behavioral practice. Oh, we want
You
people
did.
to scan in when they come to work.
Yeah.
Remember that whole spiel
You
last
did tell
week?
me about the spiel, log in, log out.
Yes.
People logging in at home. I remember.
Okay, where are we headed with this?
So I get into the venue. Now, this thing goes for 2.5 hours. Now, this show is already this show
20 minutes. Ah.
is an hour and a half. Like, and sometimes we push it 2 hours, and we're like, "Fuck, that went too long." This was 2.5 hours of upper management talking to 600 people about what they've done the last year, which we already know.
I wouldn't tolerate.
So I'm
I
like-
didn't tolerate 2.5 hours of Titanic. I'm not going to
Exactly.
tolerate two and a
I'm not
half hours of
tolerating
this.
Fucking spot on. So I'm like, they forced us to come into the come into the office for this.
I like
event.
most sane
Surely-
people, Greeno. I like most sane people fast forwarded to the end of the movie when it was fucking sinking.
Let it sink. Let it sink. Exactly.
That's right.
So I'm like, surely there's a reason we had to be here. So we've got the app. We've been forced to come in the office. There's got to be a whole bunch of activities that are predicated around us having to be here physically with other people and
Yes.
using said app.
New behaviors, new apps,
Yeah.
new security.
And an hour and a half in of listening to upper management just talk to us,
Yes.
we hadn't touched the app and we hadn't had to get out of our seat.
Okay, so you're optimistic at this point.
So at that point, they're like, oh, okay. So we asked everyone to download the app, get it out. And I see 700 sheep pull out their phones while I sit there with my arms crossed.
Wow.
And they go, what word would you go on the app and tell us what word you'd say to describe the last year? And people put a word in, and that was it. That was the only fucking reason people had to download the app for one 12-second activity to go,
No.
how would you describe the last 12 months? And that was it.
No.
And then they spoke for another hour, and then we left. So something that could have been done as a Teams meeting, I just spent 3 hours getting in and spent 3 hours getting home while sitting on my ass for 2.5 hours, doing no work in the interim, had 600 people in my office coerced into downloading an app they didn't need to for one very small activity, but they just hand over a whole bunch of personal details.
So they could become like a contestant on a game show where it's like, okay, enter your answer in the pad now.
But they didn't do that. They did that for 1 second, and that was
1
it.
second.
But they made people download the app. So in the end, my kind of silent protest where I just didn't do it
Yeah.
turned out to be kind of well predicated. It made no
Nice,
sense.
Gary. I'm going to give you a nice Gary, but I'm also going to give you one of these, Greg.
You dick!
Because you have now inadvertently made yourself a target purely because you're probably the only guy in the whole company who didn't download the app. And they're going to be
Didn't
like,
download the app.
hang on, look, we've got 800 employees and only 799 replies to this fucking app. What's going on?
Yeah. How are we going to access these messages and photos?
And then they're gonna find you out, and they're gonna say, Greeno, what happened there? And you're gonna, no, I scanned in with my QR code. Here it is. You know,
Yeah.
you pull out the piece of
In
paper,
paper.
and they're gonna say, oh, you're supposed to give us a word, and that's when you can write "fuck you" on the paper as well, and hand it right
100%.
straight to them.
Nice,
There
Gary.
So that was the
That would be
That's what
two
I
words,
thought-
though. You can't,
Yeah.
because it was
can't
one
both.
word. How about
Hyphened.
cunt? That was-
Yeah, hyphen. You know hyphen. It's all good.
Cunts.
So I thought that was the end of the saga, right? So at least the meeting's done. And everyone's like, are you going to stick around and have drinks? I'm like, fuck no. I've just sat on my ass for 3 hours on the train ride in. I've just sat on my ass for 2.5 hours being spoken to.
Yeah.
That they could have told me, done the exact same thing with me in my own house.
You've wasted you've wasted more than half a day because you're preparing for this in the morning, you know?
Yeah,
So-
100%. There was a whole bunch of preparation, and I'm like, well, this is ridiculous. And then I'm like, I've made sure I call the train in to save money because I'm going to pay $90 for parking. Now I've got like a very small window to get to the train station to make sure I don't miss the express train. Otherwise, I'm going to spend 3.5 hours on the way home. I only want to spend 2:45 instead.
Oh, look, and can I open the kimono here a bit? Like,
Yeah.
for the blockheads who aren't in Australia and whatnot. So where Greeno's located now, like myself and Lady Boogs, that's where we're headed. We will move down there eventually too because we just love the area and stuff, and we'll end up there as well. And there are a lot of upsides from living out of Sydney. Like, there's so many fucking upsides. And it's just like the kind of laid back casualness, like even just getting around locally. It's not as stress like it is in Sydney.
Yeah.
And, it's just the air's different down there kind of thing. I think you're so close to the water and and it's not the stinky, beach water that Sydney smells. Sydney beaches stink,
Yeah, they're not real beaches. They're fake beaches. They're corporate beaches.
Well, there's so many people there and there's so much garbage around. It just stinks.
Urine. Like back to the urine.
Yeah, exactly. There's homeless people and heroin needles in the sand and stuff. It's just not as pretty as it looks on the postcard. The really nice beaches are when you get a bit out of Sydney and there's nobody on them. You have the whole beach to yourself, and it's endless. Yeah, you could walk for days and days and days and days and not see another person on the fucking beach if you wanted to. If you go far out enough, So we'll get down there eventually, but the downside is anytime these fuckers who are still in the Sydney cage, Greeno, anytime they reach their little scrawny little kind of elven arms through a hole in the cage and they grab hold of your shirt and they pull you into the cage, Greeno, like anytime you have to go to Sydney, it's a fucking punish because where I am, like this is the area we grew up in. If I have to travel into the city, I'm already halfway there,
Our trip sort of thing. Look, I think it also depends on scenario, right? Like I did the exact same trip a year ago.
Yeah.
But the reason I went in was a friend's farewell.
Right.
And because I wanted to be there, like I didn't mind. I was just kind of like, yeah, sweet. I got up at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
I put my headphones in. I caught the train in. I spent the night in the city, got a hotel, and then just got the train back the next morning.
But it's still
good.
okay. So all right, you didn't mind it.
To be there.
Okay, you didn't mind it, but it cost you a fucking fortune, and it was a pain in the ass,
Yes, I did. It was a pain in the ass to it. But I thought I'm going to do it cheap this time.
Yeah.
Like I'm just getting a train in, train back, no hotel. We're all fucking sweet.
Yep.
Lo and behold, though, as I scan off when I'm home, I'm like, man, I can smell the sea air. This is fucking amazing. I scan off, and it happened to be the exact point that tapped into my balance of my train card. And $120 disappeared out of my bank account to top the fucker up. So what I thought was going to be a $12 thereabout trip ended up costing me $132 because I had to fucking top up my account because my balance had just tipped over. And the other kick in the dick was the fact that
the other kick in the dick.
It wouldn't have tipped over the balance for $220 to disappear if I'd caught the train outside peak hour. So because it was peak hour, it cost like $3 more.
Because you rushed to get the express, they charge you more.
The express, it cost me an extra $3, which meant the like $11 out of my account wasn't enough to pay for it.
Nice, Gary!
That's the end of the fucking story.
Oh, what a story.
I like stories about pinatas.
So that's the end of the... Who won then? After all of that, who won?
I still think I won.
You still think you came out on top?
I didn't give him my name. I gave him like my initials.
Yeah.
I didn't give him my phone number.
Yeah.
I didn't give him my emergency contact. I didn't give him my emergency contact number.
Yep.
I didn't give him a personal email.
Okay, I'll tell you what, Greeno. I reckon it's like this. You won the war, but you came home missing a leg because on the way out they stung you with that fucking last little hit to the wallet, and that would have been like after you think you've won the battle and you throw your hands up in the air and then someone fucking shoots you in the back of the knee or something.
Nice, Gary!
With that said, though, I played a long game though, sir. So we'll go to a break after
You'll
this
recover.
comment.
Yeah.
No. We'll play a game. We'll go to a break after this comment. As kind of like a counter to that, because I'm like, well, that was a fucking waste of my time. That was a complete waste of my time. The next day, I'm like, how many hours does it take me to earn $120?
Oh, no.
So I sat there and refused to do any work and watched the World Series game for the exact amount of minutes it took me to recoup my $120.
You are so fucking petty.
Do you like your novelty comedy songs organic? Handmade with painstaking care, put into every note? Well, look no further than Irrational Times. Using only the finest instruments to create an experience that your ears will thank you for later, Irrational Times attempts to elevate the whimsy to a desirable level. New songs and sketches every week, so check it out.
berries it brings. It's a special little spot tucked away on D-Live. Enjoy the joy of Pessy. Campy old movies and old cartoons. We hope to see you over there very soon. It's our special little spot tucked away on D-Live. Enjoy the joy of Pessy. When we were kids and there wasn't any school, we'd sit and watch all the best cartoons, eating cereal until it was noon. We never thought that 30 years later it'd still be cool. Saturday night and cheesy movies, the ones that used to show us boobies. It's our special little spot tucked away on D-Live. Enjoy the joy of Pessy. Enjoy the joy of Pessy. Enjoy the joy of Pessy.
Now with less than 3% sport content. It's the starting block on TAVshow.com.
Yes, welcome back to the block, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Twitter update. It's on again, it's off again, it's on again, it's off again. Elon Musk has come out and said that he will fire 75% of Twitter employees, Greeno, and most of the corporate media has been going, oh my God, this is awful. Their services will reduce. And I'm sitting here thinking, that's exactly what I want. I want less fucking sense. I want less government on Twitter, you know? I want less company people overlooking Twitter and overseeing it. If they cut the workforce by 75%, nobody's getting banned ever again.
Nice, Gary!
You know, so that's what we want, isn't it? Just,
I think it was it Major Tom earlier today who tweeted, "We're getting the N-word back, people."
Nice, Gary!
Nice, Gary.
It might have been, I can't remember what it was. But
So there's only upsides to that. I hope he gets to buy it. I still don't think he will. I still don't think it'll happen. Something else is going to happen. There's DOJ
this
is
a long
involved.
game.
And, I mean, it's just ridiculous.
100% it's a long game.
Can we honestly, how about this, Greeno? Can we go back to like text only chat rooms? And that's it.
If only. If only.
Do you remember how much fun it was trolling IRC and stuff back in the day?
See, that was before my time. Like,
Oh man, it was the best.
Yeah.
Because it was literally only text. That's all you had. So you had to be really fucking creative to troll people. You had to really suck them in. You had to get them to get a whole chat room kind of focused on what you were doing. You'd have to be very inspirational and have a whole backstory and everything. And that's when you draw them in. That's when you fucking chop their head off.
Nice, Gary!
Watch them run around like headless chooks. That was the art of trolling. Now it's
Like
like,
a long game.
fuck
Yeah.
you, I blocked you on Twitter. You're trolling me. It's like, no, well, I'm making it easy. That's like
it.
it's like bowling with the rails up. You know,
really is bumper bowling.
pretty easy to troll someone when they're on Twitter and just giving it to you constantly.
Yeah.
Like, well, that's
Yeah, cool.
easy enough. If you had to log in with the log into a text only chat room, the only reason you recognize someone is because you recognize their username and it was probably like 26 fucking digits or something, you know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that's Billy. His number ends in 5733451. That's him. You know. Yeah, you go trolling people in the other channels. But fuck, it was hard work, Greenie. You had to know your stuff. I reckon the internet was better when only nerds knew how to use it. Now that everybody's got access through their phone and their TV, some people access the internet through their fridge, Greeno. Have you heard of that?
The fridge. Yeah, the fridge
Fridge
I've seen
internet.
that.
So, I mean, you know, the day that they made the internet accessible to everybody is the day they fucking ruin the internet. Because we all know when every Tom, Dick, or Harry is able to be involved in something, they fuck it up. They ruin it. They ruin it for everybody else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Again, reason number 2 why we should destroy the internet.
Yeah. Burn it down.
Burn it down.
Damo, quick story time, if I can,
Please.
sir.
I like stories about pinatas.
Impromptu story time. So we've been talking about the lumens the last couple of weeks, right? Side note.
Lumens is a measure of light
from projectors
yeah.
that depends on the potency of said thing. My original one I bought was a cheap hunk of shit and didn't have enough lumens.
I guess
Now
it's
I've got
brightness, ultimately. It's brightness or the
it's
power
basically,
of it or something.
It's the power of the light. Like, for example, a light globe produces 1600 lumens.
Yes.
So, hence, if you put a light globe on during the day, it doesn't really project much light.
I think my fluoro tubes are like fucking 900 lumens or something.
Yeah, like 900 lumens, exactly.
Yeah.
So, side note, if you want to project it to work during sort of daylight,
You need more than
7,000
900,
lumens.
mate. Yeah.
You need 7,000.
Yeah.
So got that sorted. Got the projector in last week. Got a new projector screen in this week.
Yeah. Your third projector in as many months, mind you.
As many months, yeah. Cool. Well, this one's a new screen, and this is a nice fold-away screen.
Yep.
Takes up little space. Turns out to be 25% of the cost of the original projector screen the wife made me buy.
And is it much
and
bigger than a
takes up less space.
television, or just about the same size?
120 inches, sir.
Yeah,
Can
you get
it's
TV?
massive.
I don't know. I can't place 120 inches. Give me
It's fine.
meters.
In meters, you're looking about 7 meters.
7.
There or thereabouts.
7 meters is pretty fucking long. Okay.
Fuck, I sent you a picture of how big this stupid thing was, man. Like, you've seen the fucking picture.
Yeah, right. Oh, so that's no, but I thought that was the last projector that you had that you
the-
got rid of,
Yeah,
and now you're
the new
replacing it.
Yeah, the new one is 3 inches bigger.
Oh, right. Okay, nice carry.
Yeah, so fucking stupid big.
Yep.
So had a movie night last week with the kids.
Which
and
movie?
the wife.
Now, if it was me, Greeno, I'd want to watch Star Wars or Guardians of the Galaxy or something big and sci-fi on this big screen, and I would turn the stereo up so loud it would shake the rubber out of the joins in the windows. Really have a crack. What did you decide? Was it Beer Fest or something? Or
No, so
Dawson's Creek.
no. Well, the whole projector idea was the lovely wife's, all right?
Oh,
So I'm like,
no.
look,
Yeah.
so I'm like, your favorite, like her favorite movie is Wizard of Oz,
Mhm.
and I'm like, obviously you didn't see that on the big screen ever.
Like the proper
that's-
one with like,
the proper-
Judy
Judy Garland, yeah.
Judy
Totally,
Garland,
yeah, 100%. So I'm like, well, let's fucking watch that. So
I was
we
just
found
making
that,
sure it wasn't some fucked up, like,
not a
Johnny
shitty
Depp
remake,
version or
it's fucking
something.
like, a black version, like a black Dorothy, and
There
we find a way to make sure she's not red.
I think there,
The Wiz. Yeah, there was a black version.
yeah,
Not
but
a
it was
shitty
pretty
black
fucking good though, wasn't it?
version. That was pretty good.
The
Wiz,
Motown one, Michael
was.
Jackson, yeah, fucking nice, Gary. That's a good one.
Nice,
That was very
Gary.
good.
How did you ever see Greeno Return to Oz, which had the girl from The Craft in it?
Which one?
And
Nev Campbell.
no, not Nev Campbell, the fucking crazy one. But it was like years before The Craft, and she goes back to Oz, and it's been taken over by a woman who's beheaded all the people. And she keeps their heads in a jar. There are these people, swear to God, man, there are these people who, see, I told my Lady Boogs about this fucking movie, and for years she was like, you're crazy, that doesn't exist. And then I found it, and I showed her, and she was like,
there you
oh
go,
my
Feruza.
fucking God.
Yeah, the crazy one from The Craft. You're right, Feruza Balk.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, and so like there's these guys who have wheels for hands. They're called wheelers, and they ride
Yeah,
around and
the lead
harass
wheeler.
people and
Yeah.
stuff.
Pond's Ma played the lead wheeler.
It is a fucked up movie, man. It's
I have to check
crazy.
that one out.
At the finale, a chicken lays an egg while the chicken is about to be eaten by a rock giant or a gnome who's this huge rock creature. And they're allergic to eggs, and he dies, and everybody's happy. It's the most ridiculous fucking thing you've ever seen. I don't know where it came from, but that was one of those movies. Remember when you were a kid, Green, and you had like 4 or 5 old movies? Remember those big plastic containers for the
100%.
videotapes?
Of course I do.
Yeah,
But
so we
Crocodile
had
Dundee came in that
Crocodile
originally.
Dundee, Green. So
Yeah.
we had like 4 or 5 of those big plastic videotapes when I was a kid, and that was one of them. I guess, my mum, in all of her infinite wisdom, decided, we should have the kid grow up with some kind of wholesome movie, but instead of getting the proper Wizard of Oz, she bought Return to Oz, and it was
Return
full
to
of all
Oz.
of this fucked up imagery.
Nice, Gary.
There's a moose head. There's a hunted moose head that's strapped to a couch with palm tree leaves tied onto the side, who snorts magic dust and then flies, Greeno. Swear to God.
Okay. Hell of a drug.
Yeah. It's a great
So
flick.
As messed up.
Yep.
I'll take that one out. So we watched the original anyway.
Okay,
So
far more
all very
awesome.
good.
Yeah.
All very good. And then I feel like I got the money out. Then I put the baseball on it inside my garage over the weekend.
Yes.
Sensational. Watching the baseball. cracking playoffs, by the way, happening on the weekend on the big screen.
Have
So
you
happy
adjusted the
days.
garage? Have you brought in the fucking lounge yet, Greeno? Or like you got to buy. What you got to
No.
do now is start scouring Saturday and Sunday mornings garage sales. Greeno, get yourself a couch. Get a two-seater.
Unnecessary.
Throw it in there.
Unnecessary. So first and foremost, I don't have enough space in there to put said couch. Secondly, what I've got is a beautiful leather chair that is currently sitting in my garage
Yes.
that doesn't fit in my house.
Ah.
That's a recliner. It's got like a rocking thing.
fantastic.
It's got a footstool.
Yep.
So that's ready to go regardless.
Yes.
But I just got to find a spot somewhere to fit it. There's just too much stuff. So what I got to do is I got to get some storage in my roof to be able to fuck off a lot of the like storage shit out into the roof to then be able to put the chair inside the garage. So there's a plan. There's a long method. So back to the original point. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. The lumens is now done. We've now got the stupid big projector screen.
Yes.
We've now got the lumens and our projector. We're all good. Now, this week happened to be 2 years since I've been in my house, which in itself is like, hey, that's exciting. I've still got a shit ton of debt. But it also happened to be the end of my fixed term interest period.
Yeah.
So shit's about to get real next week where, you know,
You don't
Greener's
have
about
to.
get-
You don't have to talk specifics, but is it enough to make you like just go? It's a little uncomfortable.
It's a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, just a bit of a pain in the like. You'll handle it. Don't get me wrong, but you know,
Yeah,
it's just like a kick in the
it's-
dick again.
It's a
Another
big old kick in the dick, exactly. So I was like, look, this is our last fortnight of, you know, being able to
Living free.
have an affordable mortgage for the next 28 years until interest rates hopefully come back.
No,
down
it's
in the
only
future.
until Labor lose the next election, then they'll come down again. They always do.
It was Labor's fault, was it?
No, I didn't say that. I said it will come down after Labor lose the next election because it doesn't matter whose fault it is. It doesn't. That's not the point. But it's always higher when a Labor government gets in. Now, business might do different things. Banking structures may change. It might be the fact that people may pay more taxes, or they're expecting to pay more taxes, or they're expecting more regulations in the future, so they spend less. Whatever the reason is, it doesn't fucking matter. When Labor's in, the interest rate goes up. And when the other side get in, it comes down. So it's just the way it fucking works.
How it works.
Yeah. Unfortunately
So-
for everybody.
So I was like, there's one more thing I probably need to do. Now, I've got this, I've had this like pitching machine that I like train with at home. It's like it's a reasonably priced thing from like about 9 years ago. I bought it before I started playing baseball.
Yep.
But I thought it'd be fun to kind of like practice. So I bought it. It's on the bling. I use it most days where I was kind of like train, catching practice, hitting practice, whatever it may be.
Yep.
So I was like, I think I need to upgrade. I think like this thing's on the bling.
What
Now,
about one of those poles with the tennis ball tied to it that spins around when you hit it?
Totem tennis.
Totem tennis.
I could do that, but it takes away the fun.
That's true.
So I was researching kind of like automatic because I don't have anyone to kind of like hang out with. A very lonely child.
I thought you were
So-
going to say automatic rifle then for a second.
That as well. Either way.
Oh shit! You should have downloaded the app, mate.
Yeah. So I need an automated machine, right? And so I'm looking at automated like baseball pitching machines, and just
You're really
weigh
going to
out-
buy a pitching machine?
Let me
That's
finish the
crazy.
story.
That's crazy.
So I'm like a bit outside my budget. Like the price, I'm
much?
like, look, I can like you're talking in the thousands.
How many thousands do they cost?
Well, depending on the level you want. But
All
I'm
right,
like,
give me like middle of the road. Not the best, but not the worst.
for a Zuka, I was looking brand new one, about $2,000.
Oh, okay. That's actually less than I thought it might be for a middle. I'm thinking
but
like
we're-
5 middle of the road.
Oh no, if you're buying like a proper one, you're talking like tens of thousands. But this is like backyard kind of
Standard.
scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, fuck, man, all these things are just way overpriced. But then I'm like, hang on, like, what's the difference between a baseball pitching machine and a cricket pitching machine? A cricket machine.
Is it the angle that it spits the ball
Because-
out at? Or?
Well, you'd think so, right? But these cricket machines
They're
can be
throwdowns.
put
Yeah.
at any particular angle.
Yeah.
So Greeno fucking purchased today.
Would a cricket
well,
machine would a cricket machine come out not as hard because it's mimicking bowling, which is straight arm, so you can't throw it as hard? Or
Well, the machine I've got at the moment doesn't go over like 20 kilometers an hour. The one I bought today, 100 kilometers an hour.
oh wow, okay.
So
Pitches.
so So this thing, I can use it for cricket. I can use it for baseball. It pitches. So it's got a tilter where the arm throw is actually at the height of where a pitcher would normally pitch, and you can adjust it so it goes up, down, sideways. I can put spin. I can put curve. I can put out swingers. I can do in swingers.
So it's about 60 miles an hour that it's pitching at you.
Yes.
Okay.
Which is pretty fucking good.
Is it? I don't know. Considered. I know that I don't know kind of like suburban league baseball, but I know like the fastest guys pitch, like 90 miles an hour, don't you, or something like that.
The fastest guys pitch 100.
100,
now,
right. Okay.
The fastest guy I've faced in like my league, probably about 80.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So fastest I've ever seen is 80. So if I've got a machine that's
which would be
60,
fucking quick if everyone else is doing 60.
Well, people are normally doing 50. Like
80 must be like facing like a 39-year-old Brett Lee in backyard cricket. Well, not backyard, but like fucking league cricket, kind of local cricket. Where 39-year-old Brett Lee's probably still sending it at 135 k's.
It's still pretty quick.
Yeah, and it'd probably still fucking take your head off because the fast bowler on your team bowls at Glenn McGrath levels, and he's the quickest one in the team, kind of thing. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So managed to find this machine overnight that is fucking up there for a quarter of the price of the baseball pitching machines.
Where are you getting this stuff? Is it some auction site or something? Or?
No, man. This is like a cricket training store in Blacktown. I found it.
So it's like a cricket trading post or something.
Pretty much, but it's brand new.
Okay.
So I'm like, well, fucking, it seems stupid not to buy it. I feel like I'm losing money if I don't buy this thing at this ridiculous price. So 10-year-old Greeno is salivating at the fact that I could have
pitching machine
non-stop throwdowns. Like, remember how Mum would call us inside of like, oh, boys, like you got to come inside. It's dark, Someone would get tired. Someone wouldn't want to bowl anymore. Remember our street cricket days where someone wouldn't want to bowl anymore.
We used to play. It was my street and the street next to mine versus Greeno Street. Yeah. And I don't think we ever won my two streets, which was shitty because we had. Like, I was okay. There were a couple of us who were okay, but the most of us were fucking terrible. And Greeno had a couple of guns in his team, so we could never fucking beat them, I don't think. Maybe we beat you once or something. I don't remember.
You might have beat us once, yeah.
Yeah, but it was like two of our guys would be really good, but then everybody else was terrible, It
was fun. We played all day.
Yeah, of course.
But eventually you get to the point where people are like, I'm sick of bowling. I don't want to bowl. Someone else bowl. And then you have to end the game. Yeah. This thing means you never have to bowl. Well, it's just fucking bat for days.
Okay, my first question is probably a logistical one. I want to analyze this problem. And look, we're probably going to have to throw the rundown out tonight because we are like already.
Oh, have we even looked at the rundown?
No.
I think we did one bit of it.
We're already over an hour, so I think we just have to see what happens.
Yeah,
but
pick and choose.
Okay, so my first question to you is, well, it's all well and good that you've brought this machine that's going to be sending baseballs at you at 60 mile an hour.
100 miles. 60 miles an hour.
100 k's an hour at your house. But then my next thought goes to the next act in this pitching situation, which is, hitting the ball. And so I wonder, where is that going to go? Because wouldn't you have to build like some kind of net situation, or are you just going to hit it into the projector screen when it comes back here?
Fun fact, no.
Oh, no. Did you buy some game or something that's on the projector and you can hit it back at the screen?
No.
Okay.
So back in 2020 when we were in lockdown, awesome. Greeno bought a whole bunch of batting cage material so I could train in the backyard.
Fucking hell.
So then I've already got a net. Now, look, am I going to hit in my backyard? No, I'm not a fucking idiot. Okay. So what did Greeno do today to go with said thing? Greeno bought a 12-volt battery that I can take to the park to then hit balls.
You're fucking kidding.
Battery powered.
Yeah.
On the big fucking footy field that's just up the road. So that answers your question there. So the backyard is for fielding practice. And also pitching practice with the net I've got.
Yep.
For batting practice, I had to buy a 12-volt battery and then take that bad boy down to the field.
You know what you need to do? Here's a free idea for you, Greeno. What you need to do is attach. What you want to get is like some kind of big, like an old fucking gramophone. The old thing that has the big fucking horn on the front and the needle.
Like the thing off the Blues Brothers.
Yes. Yeah. So what you want to do is get one of them. and then figure out how to feed that into the pitching machine. And then you can play catch with the pitching machine because it can throw at you and you can catch it and then throw it into the horn. And again, the ball goes down into the tube and then gets fed straight back in the machine. You can stand there and play catch with the machine, Greeno.
I could be doing that as well.
Nice,
No,
Gary.
I'm getting there. It's a piece-by-piece scenario, man. I'm getting there. I've almost got a professional batting cage in my house.
Yeah. Well, you've got a coach. You've got a coach at home. He's just going to give you throwdowns constantly, and you can play catch, and then you can throw it right back at him. You throw it straight back at you again.
Yeah.
Fucking brilliant.
Exactly. We're on to something. So that's Greeno's last possible purchase for the next 28 years because I've got no money left.
Oh, I don't believe
I
that.
like stories about pinatas.
I don't believe that. There'll be something that comes out in the next couple of years, and you'll go, I'll have me one of them, you know?
Yeah. And then I'll tell a story about it to get another 12 minutes of segment out of the show.
12 minutes? That was more like 40.
That went a while. Damo, let's talk some exciting news.
Is there any? I don't know.
There is, man, because fucking for the first time in forever, we reached the chartable rankings. And where did we reach chartable
No, we've been on the
rankings?
chartable rankings before in Vietnam.
Yeah, in Vietnam. I'm saying in a long while we haven't. But where are we fucking cracking it this week?
Vietnam!
We are kicking ass in Ukraine this week, sir.
Ukraine!
Now, people
Gary,
listen to
why
the
do they
show,
like
mate,
us?
I don't know, but people may think.
Wind watchers.
You may think I'm joking here. We legitimately made the top 100 of the Ukraine podcast rankings last week.
Ukraine podcast rankings. They must be really getting dire over there with the war with Russia if they're turning to our show.
And here's the thing, right? We stayed in the charts.
It's over.
Stayed in the charts for a whole week.
A whole week.
So we peaked at 100 on October the 16th.
Yep.
Today, we're currently sitting 177.
Oh, mate. I would like... I'm going to suggest that it was during some kind of shelling of Kiev or something, and they had nothing else to go to.
That's what I was trying to work out, because when I saw this come through, because like this is a legit thing, like we legitimately get rankings, and legitimately said you were 100 in UK in personal journal rankings this week.
Personal journal.
Who
Who else is on the list? Wait, we scraped in. We scraped in at 100 at the Ukrainian personal journal podcast rankings.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, who I need to know, who are the preceding 99 that are more popular than us in the Ukraine, Greeno?
That's a fucking very good question. I really should have looked
Fucking
into
personal journals. I bet your Mamma Mia isn't on that list. Actually, give ourselves a nice, Gary. Because when we
rating its ass off.
Oh, definitely not. They would hate Mamma Mia in the Ukraine, Greeno. Are you kidding? They're fighting war. They got no time for that shit. That Mamma Mia shit. So no, fucking oath. There you go. We've outranked Mamma Mia, Greeno.
Yeah,
finally,
outranked Mamma Mia.
we won.
Now,
our mission is complete.
do you get me thinking though of like how is this possible? Like in the middle of a bombing, are they just like, oh, the starting block, eh?
Download Ziploc.
Yeah, I got a French accent. You got
German.
I didn't know what your accent was. German, I guess.
That's the Ziploc, yeah.
That's the block, yeah. Well, you got to check out the boys. That's what they're talking about. Lumens. We love the lumens. They love the lumens in the Ukraine. I don't know how it's possible, but we legitimately spent a week in the Ukrainian top 100 charts.
I'll tell you how it's possible, Greeno, because people haven't forgotten how to dream. That's why.
Gary!
And then these dark times of war, who knows where humanity will end up. But what we do know is that the starting block will provide you a warm, loving breast to cling to during those dark days when the Russian bombs are raining down upon you. So we stand with the Ukraine, Greeno. We stand with Zelensky. Now let's get us back into the top 100, guys. Comrades, if I dare say, comrades. All right, let's go.
I'm disappointed. I'll have to throw my support behind Putin.
Yep.
If we're not back in the top 100 next week, to be fair.
Look, if these Ukrainian pricks don't put us back in the top 100, Greeno, I am going full pro-Kremlin. And it's going to be, you know what? We're going to be gunning for the Russian top 100 instead. How do you like them apples?
Nice, Gary!
So we've thrown down the gauntlet, Ukraine fans. Mate, get your downloads.
The next Cold War between Russia and Ukraine of like who's going to get the block loyalty moving forward.
Yeah.
So but personally, like I think Ukraine have already stepped up.
I think we just go to the highest bidder. You know.
Now I think it's for the Russians to fucking kick back, right? Like they may win the war on the ground, But who's really winning the war on the Block podcast rankings?
It's a good question. Greeno, Edward Snowden has just entered the chat. He's going to try and talk us in.
Ukrainians they're kicking ass.
They are.
Not just top 100, top 100 for a week.
Well, they got Joe Biden on their side. I mean, how could they not win? Obviously, Joe Biden's so competent and good, isn't he?
I don't know. Muted word.
Oh, Joe Biden's a muted word for you.
Yeah, mate. Anything that's political, muted.
Anything.
Done.
Then how do you? I'm sorry. How do you keep bringing political stories to the show then and sending me fucking Twitter links for them?
It's a good point.
Nice, Gary!
Very good point.
Those are ones that just slip through the net somehow, I guess.
Yeah. Fucking, it's all good. Elon will fix it. Elon will make sure that doesn't happen anymore.
I hope so.
Damo, quick, I don't know if you heard this news, but all this week, people have been fucking barring up at the news that the original Blink 182 lineup
back together.
Is back together.
I thought the drummer was dead. Isn't he dead?
I'm like, this is unreal. This is so fucking good. Like, they've got fucking the original group. They sacked the fucking dude that's banging the Kardashian. This is unreal. No. When they say original,
the stable.
when they say original, they've gone, nah, Scott Rayner, we don't know about that guy. He's not a real original. So people in their mind,
it's not a real original. Yeah.
The original Blink-182 lineup is like Travis Barker, Hoppus, and the other dude that came back.
When I think original Blink-182, I think of the first time I heard them. The first album I heard from Blink-182 was Cheshire Cat.
Cheshire Cat, and then Mad Dude Ranch.
Yeah. So whoever the band was then,
Scott Rayner, Tom DeLonge, and Hoppus.
Yeah, right.
That's the original lineup.
And then the new drummer came in after, didn't he?
He came in, and that's the thing. Like, I'd almost give him a pass if like they had like an EP and then they brought in that Travis Barker. Yeah. But no, their biggest hit. Just I don't care about all the small things and all that kind of shit. Damn It is their most notable song. Damn It and Josie are their two biggest songs.
Yeah, Josie,
yeah. And that was when Scott Rayner was in the band.
Yeah.
Then they booted him, got the other dude in, but they're referring to the current lineup, which is
as the original
next dude. Is the original.
That's a dick move.
That's a dick move. That's what I'm saying.
That would be like Van Halen saying, "Oh, here's the originals with Sammy Hagar."
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Was Sammy Hagar the original one?
Without the dead guy.
Wait, which one was the original singer in Van Halen now? Was it Sammy Hagar or the other guy?
It was the other guy, wasn't it?
Yeah, Sammy, or was Sammy the original guy? And then there was a different one. They kicked Sammy Hagar out,
I'm not a big Van Halen fan, personally.
No, all I know is Panama, dun, 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 Panama. I mean, it was the 80s. Rock and roll in the 80s probably deserves to have a nuclear bomb dropped on it. Well, it's not, and it's nothing against the people.
Rock,
it's nothing against the people. You had to deal, if you were a rocker in the 80s, you just had to deal with the environment at the time. I don't even blame you. You know, they did their best, but it wasn't the 90s and it wasn't the 70s. And then both of them kicked your ass.
Like 60s, 70s had some beautiful moments, had so great moments, and same with 90s. It was a new era. The 80s.
I'd put fucking 50s rock and roll over 80s rock and roll any day 100%. Of the fucking week. We're still singing 50s rock and roll tunes now, and still people today is going, Jesus, the 80s sucked. You know, the evidence is clear.
Terrible.
Yeah. When you think of 80s rock and roll, what do you think? I think of Midnight Oil. They were good.
Yeah, they're all right. I think of the glam metal-y type things, don't I? I think of, your Motley Crues and your Van Halens and like I guess AC/DC still pumping shit out.
Well, AC/DC, I thought that too, but then a secondary thought, you're like, well, you can't really count AC/DC as any generation because they've been in 5 of them. They've come from the fucking 60s into the 2010s, 2020s, and they're probably still going, you know?
Let's have a look at the list here. Aerosmith, Journey, Poison, ZZ Top, Kiss,
Poison. AC/DC, Kiss I would put as a 70s band, not an 80s band.
Yeah, well, they are, or they've been since 73. AC/DC since 73. Yeah. Blondie since 74. Queen since 70. The Pretenders, Def Leppard, White Snake. That's what I mean,
Def
it's all
Leppard,
cop-
White Snake. Yeah, those
It's all
are
cop rock.
80s rock bands, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Okay, I found an exception to the rule, sir.
Yeah.
Huey Lewis and the News.
Oh, no, scary.
Nice, Gary.
That is the only band where I'm like, nah, man, they fucking kick ass. Oh, Dire Straits? I'll give Dire Straits.
Yes, but Dire Straits, but they're British though. So does that really count?
Yeah, not really.
No, and Dire Straits, to be fair, they're more like a smooth. They're not a rock band. They don't do like you can't compare Dire Straits to Poison. You know,
Yeah,
Dire
that's all.
Straits plays kind of laid back, chill, pseudo rock jazz music, if anything.
You're right. All the good bands that might have played in the 80s
Yeah.
started in the early in the 70s. Like,
So there are no good 80s bands, effectively. There are
Not
no
really.
good 80s rock bands, really. They
I
don't
can't see-
exist.
aside from Huey Lewis and the News,
Huey Lewis in the News, and that's you know what? That's not even rock either. That was more like pop back in the day.
rock.
Yeah,
Men at Work.
Men at Work. Yeah, okay, but that's only really relevant for us.
Yeah,
You know.
I guess so. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, 80s. What a terrible decade for music.
That's it.
Nice, Gary.
It's the worst. So the 80s is the middle child that gets picked on by both the 70s and the 90s. And, you know, they both fucking punch the 80s in the face and go, you suck. You know, you stink.
Because all the good bands that kind of, like, from the 80s were prevalent in the late 80s, which meant they've seen more like 90s bands.
Yeah.
So, like, your Guns N' Roses, your Metallicas, etc.
Yes.
Well, like,
Oh,
technically
Gunners.
80s bands-
Actually, Guns N' Roses, I reckon, is right on the cusp.
And
Because
that's what I
I
mean, it's on the
consider
cusp.
Guns N' Roses, that's actually, I consider them an 80s band in my head, actually. And just, I didn't think of that before you mentioned their name. But even though they probably were more famous in the 90s, when I think 80s rock, I do think of Axl Rose with his tight pants and his headband, you know, and
Yeah, but I
Slash
think of
with
that,
his
like,
ridiculous
I
outfit.
think of that like 1990.
Well, the Guns N' Roses are like post-Kiss in their presentation. You know, they just one step away from makeup. Guns N' Roses, you know, they had they were glam rockers too, but they were just a little more tough about it.
Yeah.
They were grunge glam rockers, basically. Yeah. So I reckon they're still on the cusp of the 80s.
Yeah, but I still don't think they're an 80s band.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
I'm saying I need a band that was like prevalent between 81 and 89.
Well,
you
you're
know what I
talking
mean?
about
Like,
bands like The Cure.
Yeah, that's what I mean. 80s just such a shit decade.
It is. It really is. You had The Cure. You had the band that was Should I Stay or Should I Go? Not Big Audio Dynamite, but the other one. The Clash. The Clash.
The Clash, that's right. Yeah, Clash is there. But once again, I didn't put him in solid territory.
No. So and that's it. That's probably it. You know.
I tell you who I was listening to, got myself pumped up before the show. Just random, because something popped up as I was putting the kids to bed.
Yeah.
Bit of Roxette.
Roxette.
Man, they got some bangers, man.
She's got the look.
She's got the look.
She's got the look. And there was the
Joyride.
yes, yeah. Come
Must
on,
Be
join the
Love.
joyride.
Yeah.
I remember all those Roxette was huge when we were like
fucking
6 or
massive.
7 years old. Do you remember?
100%.
I remember being in the car with mum or something
Yeah.
and just hearing it was in the car. It was at the school dance. You know, those little school
Was
dances you
everywhere.
go to when you're 7 or 8. It was in the shopping centers. Roxette, we used to get cassettes handed to us when we bought a Happy Meal at McDonald's, you know?
That's right. It
You
was like
get the-
6 tunes.
Yeah.
You'd have some Hanson on it.
Had some Hanson. You had
and
some,
have some like,
Hey Mr. DJ was on one of
Hey
them.
Mr. DJ. You had Return of the Mac on there.
Return of the Mac was on one of them. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You'd get these little kind of like Hot 40s little cassette
Hot 40s,
tapes.
but it was like 4 tracks per thing to get you to buy a Happy Meal. I remember
Yeah.
having those.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
And those songs were on that fucking tape. I'm sure.
100% they were. Well, here's the thing.
Roxette. Yeah.
Quick story time on Roxette.
Story time.
I like stories
I'm going to
about
go drink. You
pinatas.
carry on.
All right, so basically, when Roxette toured Australia back in 2015, I think it was 2015, 2016, whatever it was, and no, it would have been 2014, 2015, and the wife and I were like, "Oh, we love Joyride, we love blah blah blah." And at the time, we were my wife was pregnant with our firstborn, so it was a scenario of like, this is the last concert we might go to for a long while. let's fucking go to Roxette. This is going to be a sensation. We'll go to Roxette. We'll have a good time. We'll listen to Joyride. Everyone will be happy. And basically get there. Turns out they've got like 12, 14 tracks. We didn't realize all well-known songs.
Oh, fantastic.
Like, it was an absolute banger of a fucking concert. I'm like, hell, I didn't realize I sung this one. Like, listen to your heart.
Oh, yeah. No.
And then
what else did they do? It's over now. Fucking oath. Roxette were the voice of the 80s.
Yeah.
So, okay, so there was Joyride.
Get dressed for success.
Was that Roxette as well?
100%, man. This is like,
they must have been like the Beatles of the 80s, man.
100%, man. This was the 90s. So we were to this concert.
True, yeah. We were kids. Yeah.
Expecting to hear 2 songs we knew, going, we'll wait for Joyride and we'll wait for the other one, The Look. And then we're sitting there like, I know this song. And it was literally one of the best concerts I've ever seen in my life. Fun times.
Nice,
Gary. Story time.
Nice, Gary.
Right, now you can
I
talk
like
about
stories about pinatas.
Let's do you want to do the political hot toss while I go get a beer?
I think I can. Yeah, well, you just go get a beer and we'll sort it out. Okay. I mean, look, I saw this story the other day, and it obviously got retweeted a lot, and a lot of people commented on it, and a lot of people were putting this up as a microcosm of our society and stuff. And I agree with all of that, of course, but I'm just not surprised. Manhattan congressional candidate Mike Itkes releases sex tape in push delete. So and again, the thing with this is, we've lived for so long where a sex tape will end your political career, and we've now.
Those are the days, sir.
Well, I don't know what the scientific term is, but there is a scientific term for, like, let's say a boat on the water, right, Greeno? And when the weight becomes too top heavy, it just flips. You can go a certain point, and then the weight just gets far too much, and then it all reverses. And then all of the heavy weight is at the bottom. And we are now taking a mouthful of seawater as a civilization.
I'm glad you said seawater there, sir.
Yeah, not seamen. But that's in the tape, you see. So, like, once upon a time, the release of a sex tape would end your political career. Now it's actually being actively used as a promotional tool for your political career. Yeah. And the keel of this ship that we're on is now fucking flipping over and crashing under the waves, right? So I'm not surprised at all. I do think, like, sometimes we were reminiscing about the 90s then, and look, obviously we're getting old, and I understand that. I appreciate that. But I just think that when it all comes down to it, I'm a simple 90s kid who grew up watching Hanging with Mr. Cooper. Remember when Bill Clinton, not inhaling marijuana was a big scandal?
Yeah, that's right. He had a puff, but he did not inhale.
If Bill Clinton was running today, he would have leaked video of him smoking from a crack pipe while he's getting his dick sucked on the internet, and they would say how brave he is for releasing it. It
was the Canada guy who turned out to be a crack addict.
Oh, there's a lot of them that are crack addicts.
He was a Canadian politician that would turn out to be a crack addict.
There was one in Florida. The guy who ran against Ron DeSantis in Florida ended up being after he lost the election, mind you. He ended up, and I don't blame him actually. If you lose an election, it's probably very disappointing, very sad. So you probably get on a bit of a bender, Greeno. Just drink your sorrows away. And he was found
Rob Ford's the guy I'm thinking of. Toronto mayor.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Yeah, you'd definitely know it. So Toronto Mayor Rob Ford, there was a video of him smoking a crack pipe.
Okay.
In like this weird crack den.
Well, again, if only he was getting his dick sucked on the video, he probably would have been elected again. If only, And that's what I'm saying. Like, we're flipping the keel over. The guy who ran against DeSantis was found in a hotel room with like a couple of male hookers or something and a crack pipe. Like, it's like, oh well, but it was so casual. The response was like, oh well, that'll happen, because we're now at that stage where everything's kind of flipping over and reversing now. So, I say fucking embrace it. Manhattan congressional candidate Mike Ickes releases sex tape in push to legalize sex work. I mean, this is the kind of candidate we want, isn't it, running ultimately? Because how bad can it be?
Well,
I'd vote for him.
Technically, he's scandal-free now, right? Because there's no scandals to release. He's releasing them himself. He's like, look, I found a porn star. We did a video. Yep. We're going to put the video out there. Enjoy. You want to see me going at it? You've seen it.
Have you heard of
Mike Ickes?
Have you heard of Breitbart, Greeno? Breitbart News?
No, I can't say I have.
Okay. Well, Breitbart's kind of like it's a right-wing Huffington Post kind of thing. It's like a right-wing kind of tabloid. And the guy who started Breitbart, Andrew Breitbart, he started working at the Huffington Post. And when he started this website and it kind of took off, the first thing he did was come out and say, all right, here's all my fucking dirty secrets. Here's all my scandals. I did this when I was 21. I got drunk and fucked around and this happened and this blah, blah, blah. And,
can't be blackmailed that way.
Well, they were asked, why are you doing this? And he's like, well, if I just get it out now, then I've got nothing to hide and there's nothing you can do. You've got nothing to hold over me.
That's it. It's a power thing, right?
Yeah, it is. Bizarrely.
Have you seen anything with the NFL owners at the moment?
No.
So the Washington, whatever they're fucking called now, they keep on changing their name. The owner, Dan Snyder, came out this week because they're trying to get him to sell the team because of a whole bunch of sexual harassment stuff.
Okay.
And a bunch of other issues. And he's like,
isn't any kind of fucking sorry to interrupt, Greeno, but isn't any kind of controversy in NFL just white noise? I mean, you've had fucking dog fighters and rapists win Super Bowls. Yeah. What's the difference?
100%. Well, yeah, they got rapists who's just come back from a suspension.
controversy. I'm like, really? Do you guys even know what that word means in the NFL? Controversy? I don't think you do.
So this owner, he knows the other owners are trying to get rid of him. So he's like, fuck this. So he's hired private investigators to investigate the other 29 owners.
What?
31 owners.
What?
And said, if you try and get rid of me, I know all your dirty secrets, including the commissioners.
What? Jesus.
So that dude you were just talking about is genius because he's like, well, you're already
he's doubling back. He's
like,
he's raising them. I see your bet
out there, so you can't blackmail anymore. Like they know my secrets.
Wow. Actually, you know what? To be fair, I'll give that guy. Because play them at their own game. Oh, all right, fuck you. If you're going to try and quote unquote expose me, but if you get exposed, then you get exposed. But if you get exposed by someone who's fucking worse than you, then you're like, oh fuck this. That's not that ain't right. That's not right.
There is a little bit of an irony of the owner of the New England Patriots trying to keep the moral high ground when old mate Rub and Tug out there.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't there once? Was it a Speaker of the House? He was a Democrat, I think, in the United States, and something came out, like there were rumors about him doing some kind of weird sex shit. And he not basically come out publicly and say, if I go down, I'm going to take you all with me? And then they dropped the case. They stopped investigating him, and they're like, oh, fair enough.
Because everyone's got skeletons in their closet,
And that's the political system. They don't trust you unless you've got something in your past. Because if they know something about you, then they can hold it over you, so they can trust 100%. You.
Yeah.
If you're a squeaky clean, they don't trust you because you're going to be the guy who goes in there and tears shit up and gets them fired. They can't have that. They need to get something on you to let you into the club.
Don't want a part of it.
Don't want a part of it. So look at this guy though. He's released his own fucking sex tape as a promotional vehicle. Who knows? I've said this for years. Eventually we'll get here where, politicians will be releasing their own sex tapes to get elected. I didn't think it would happen a couple of years later. I thought maybe
part of a campaign ad. You're saying.
I thought we'd be old men by the time this started happening, but hey, it's accelerating. We're alive for it. That's exciting. We get to see the downfall of society. Isn't that nice?
So
would you vote for a guy? Greeno,
check out my girth. Vote one Mike Ickes.
Check out my girth. Would you vote for a guy, Greeno, who knocked on your front door and said, "Do you want to watch me tonguing a woman's asshole?"
Well, it depends. Is he asking me to pay for it, or is this free?
No. Look, I've got. He hands you a cassette tape, Greeno. He says, "Here it is, right here."
He's got my vote.
Yeah, nice, Gary.
Gary.
Mike Ickes.
Mike Ickes, vote one Ickes.
Well done. Can I show you this just quickly too?
Yeah.
We're straight into cancel everything.
Oh, we're starting to cancel everything. Excellent. Let's do cancel everything, and we'll do stat man. Nah, fuck this guy, man. Let's do cancel everything and call it a day.
Okay. The Fremantle Dockers, Greeno. Now, you know Fremantle is basically Perth 2, isn't it?
Yeah.
Over there in Western Australia, the Sandgropers, the other side of the country. From Greeno and myself are on the East Coast. The West Coast is on the other side. They're weird over in the West. They think the rest of the country hates them. In reality, we don't think about them. We don't care. We pretend like they don't
They run
exist.
their own ship. But we only thought about them when we found out we couldn't get into WA.
That's right. And they couldn't get
Because
out.
like, no, we're not letting anyone in ever. And like, what do you mean? I don't.
It's pretty
safety,
weird, bro.
Safety,
Yeah.
safety first.
Yeah.
And WA are like, fucking, we love this dude. Fucking, we don't want anyone to ever come here. And you're like, okay, like, all right, we didn't want to be there to begin with, but all right, like, thanks WA.
Well, like this is a scientific fact. Geographically, Perth is the most isolated state capital on planet Earth. Like, there's no city that's close to Perth because it's on the west coast of Australia, and there's just desert and then the east coast.
Desert, yeah.
And then there's desert or ocean. That's all you have. They're just kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Yes.
So I found this particularly interesting for this reason, Greeno. This news report. The Dockers have been urged to cut ties with major partner Woodside, with a group of high-profile supporters claiming it is, quote, no longer appropriate for the oil and gas giant to sponsor the club in the midst of a climate crisis. Greeno.
Nice, Gary!
And I thought to myself, all things considered, Western Australia wouldn't even fucking exist if it wasn't for the mining community.
For the mining, yeah, that's all they have in WA. That's the only thing they do.
They have.
They've
It's
got-
just
they-
desert and sand and
sand,
mining and minerals
and cocaine. That's it.
and
That's all they
cocaine
got.
for the West Coast.
Nice,
That's right.
Gary!
That's all they
That's
got.
true. So they can dig out copper and iron ore.
Yeah.
They can do
Yeah.
a lot of coke. Okay, that's a credit to them. Party on,
Yeah.
boys. Have
Well
your fun.
done.
But yeah, the
That's a job
audacity,
market.
the audacity of Fremantle fans to choose their sponsors, mate. If we had it your way, because they don't want sponsors who represent fossil fuels. Okay, if you don't want to represent fossil fuels, your whole fucking economy does not exist. How
Shut down your
dare
state,
you?
yeah.
The fucking audacity. The whole reason that your little town, Perth, exists is to be a funnel for the ports to send the natural resources out to the people who are buying them, right? And the only reason that you're there is somebody in your family at some point decided, I'm going to go and have me some of that mineral resource money.
Nice, Gary!
And I'm going to drive a truck, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to work at the port or whatever, just so I can ship the fucking minerals out of Australia. Mining and petroleum and fucking iron ore and coal. It's all coming out of your town, mate. It's all coming out of there. So if you're gonna get the Dockers for a sponsorship with an oil and gas giant, you better sell your fucking house, mate. Because that's the only reason you're in Perth in the first place, is so we could have a population that's close enough to the fucking oil and the gas and the coal to give them a place to stay when they're not working on it. That's it. That's your job.
Nice, Gary!
To
What do
be
you think
fair,
of that?
I don't know whether it's Dockers fans or Bold Frame Glasses journo that may have pointed this out, because I'm looking at the Twitter replies and it's all like lol, 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 lol,
Yeah.
lol.
Oh, this
lol,
is beautiful
lol.
because people are getting on board. Well, people are getting on board with the let's cancel everything culture, Green. Look at this.
Yeah.
Energy company sponsorship, betting company sponsorship. So let's get rid of the betting companies. How about this guy? I really appreciate this one. They have a list to go through. Adelaide BHP, Greeno. So the Adelaide Crows sponsored by the petroleum BHP.
Better get that done. Yeah.
Power Core equals Essendon. Momentum Energy and Viva Energy, Geelong, Mortimer, Hawthorn, West Coast, BHP, AGL, Origin, Sydney, St Kilda, AGL, Port Adelaide, GFG, Santos, AGL, AGN. They're all gas companies and petroleum companies and mineral companies.
Cancel them all.
Cancel them all. Get rid of them all.
Were we already cancelling the Swans for Emirates a couple of weeks back?
So the Swans have
Because-
now been double cancelled.
Double cancelled
They have
because
no
they-
sponsors now.
So we've just got nothing but
Rainbow
morally-
flags.
Yeah, morally kind of appropriate thing. Can we get was it Mike Ickes?
Mike
on board?
Itkus, yes, the man. Yep, this guy. Yep,
There we go, Mike Ickes. Get him in there.
yeah.
Because at
Do
least
you want
he's
to see
clean.
Mike? No, I'm sure we got a picture of Mike somewhere.
I don't think it's a picture of Mike, is there?
No.
Actually,
unfortunately.
no, that's a fair point. No, we need to go back to that story. We need to see a picture of Mike if we're willing to vote for him in a sex tape.
Oh, okay, you want to see Mike? All right, I'll bring
Yeah,
up
we need
Mike.
to find Mike Ickes to
Like
find out.
Mike, if I could be like Mike.
Because everyone glamorizes a sex tape, I guess.
Oh, here he is, Greeno. I found
his
him.
partner is in the video.
Yeah.
Because it might be a bit of a dud.
I found Mike.
You found Mike? All right.
hang
Nothing
on,
up on the
I'll
screen
throw
at the
him up.
moment.
Yeah, I know. I found him. There he is.
And that's is that his partner in the video?
No, that's the porn star that he hired for the video.
Ah, there we go. Well, yeah.
Well, he couldn't even get a pretty one, so that's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's okay.
He must be an independent.
Yeah. Well done, Mike. Well done.
He doesn't have that big. He doesn't have that big Democrat cash behind him. You know.
See, I'm looking at this and then I'm trying to imagine the kind of film they made together, right? And I'm thinking Costanza, where he just wants to rub oil on his head.
I want to rub oil all over my head. I want to rub oil on my head and rub it all over your naked body or something.
That's what I'm thinking. Is a Mike Ickes porno, the George Costanza porno, Costanza porno.
Nice, Gary.
Fantastic.
All right, that's enough.
That's
Let's
it.
do
We've
plugs.
done enough.
You doing a show tomorrow?
No, not tomorrow. Saturday night, Sunday morning, our time.
Are you doing Sundays now? I know you did Sundays last week. I thought it might have been a one-off.
No, it works out
back
well.
Sundays permanent.
Well, I mean, how many years, right, was I doing Friday night with you and then Saturday morning my own thing? It's got to be at least the last 2 or 3, right?
Easy, yeah, but you don't sleep, so it doesn't matter.
I don't sleep, but maybe I'm getting a bit old,
Getting old,
Greeno.
yeah.
So I feel like, the day after this, especially when it goes till fucking 10:30 at night or whatever this is now, it's like, oh, you know what? Because I've just I had created just a new work day for myself because I'd have to get up at 6 a.m. to do the show.
Oh, 100%, man. Yeah, it makes no sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, you know what? Maybe I'll fucking sleep in tomorrow. It is Saturday. Because before as well, I wasn't working a regular 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday before for me was like, you're right. I had been up for 10 hours. It was like, it was like my prime time at 6
It
in
was
the
your
morning.
normal daytime after work hours.
Exactly. But that's not the case anymore. Now I'm a regular kind of office 9 to 5 stiff. Things have changed quite considerably. I still can stay up till 1 or 2 in the morning, no problem, playing stupid video games. But that's another matter in of itself. But yeah, Saturday night / Sunday morning for my little podcast, which won't be on YouTube, by the way. I got banned off YouTube for a week, Greeno. Did I tell you?
What'd you do? No, you didn't.
Oh, no, I tweeted it out earlier. Yeah, I yesterday I got an email from Team YouTube. Remember when I got fucking approved for their partner thing? Yeah, I was. And now I guess I've been kicked out of the partner program. They don't like me anymore, Greeno. It's a little sad. Yeah, so I got a thing saying you've got a strike on your channel. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. And apparently my strike is for, quote, inciting violence or hatred. Now, have you ever known, Greeno, I want you to answer 100% honestly, okay? Have you ever known me as a guy, if there's a fight about to go down, am I the guy who's like, all right, get your fucking fists out, cunt? Or am I the guy who's like, oh, I'll buy you a beer, fucking chill out, mate, relax, what are you doing?
I'm going to say the latter because I once saw you slapped in the face by a rando and you got out of the car and said, hey, man, what are you doing?
What are you doing, mate?
You didn't fucking throw a fist. You were just like...
Didn't even get angry at him.
Mate, what are you doing? I was trying to buy a burger. What the fuck are you slapping me for?
Yep.
So I'm going to put you in the latter category, sir.
In the latter category. So I've never incited violence or hate in my fucking life. It's not part of my DNA. But I got this email like you have been, flagged for inciting violence and or hatred of some group. It's YouTube. Hey?
They point out what part of the show? Or
No, they don't. No, they don't. They just send you a link to. So they took down the episode that I had on YouTube, and if you want to look it up on any other platform or download the podcast or whatever, it's called "This Week in Racism." Okay.
Yeah.
So you can go back. Actually, here's a homework assignment. If you really want to listen, if you really want to pay attention back there in Ukraine or Vietnam, or wherever the fuck you're listening from.
Ukraine. They love us in Ukraine.
They love us in the Ukraine. Go and listen to the This Week in Racism episode and find me the part that YouTube is referring to where I either promote violence and or hatred of somebody.
Well, you use the word racism, I think.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't happen though. So if you can find it. So what they do, they send you a link to your whole fucking episode. So it's like what? So I've got to sit through this 2 hours of my own show. Nobody listens to my show. Why the fuck would I? It's not that good. So I've got to sit through my own fucking podcast for 2 hours, and so give me a timestamp or something.
Yeah,
you
just
know?
let me know. Going, minute 28 to 30.
Yeah.
Like, faggots, niggas, faggots. Like that might be. You can point that out and go, "Yep, that's not appropriate."
Yeah.
Inciting racism, violence. No, I agree. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. So I'm obviously I tried to watch it, and it just got stuck on a continuous loop. You know why? Because the fucking video had already been deleted. They deleted it. So they sent no, I swear to God. So they send me a link.
If they delete it,
they send me a link to review the content that they have already deleted. So I can't review the content. It just sits there and tries to load the whole fucking time, right?
Lesson learned.
Yeah, so it's like, do you want to appeal? And I click yes. It's like, Lee Carvello's golf challenge. Do you want to play again, right? So I click yes, and it says, do you want to leave a comment? And I go yes, and I say, good afternoon. This content contains no incitement to violence or hatred whatsoever. Full stop. Kind regards. I don't know what to say. That's not something it's not something we do around here. But I don't expect it'll make any difference. If you want to be brutally honest, I'm a little upset that it took this long to get a strike, because that means that I'm not very popular.
Yeah, exactly.
If my channel had been more popular, I probably would have been banned years ago.
100%. You would have got Rogan.
Yeah.
A quick hot goss off the press, if I can name it. No, not goss.
Close enough.
I just saw this tweet. So, following on from the cancel everything, the AFL going, we don't want fossil fuel companies, blah, blah, blah. Yep. Cottonwool Cummins has been doing the same this week, going, I really need to consider, like, blah, blah, blah. These are
I really hope Paddy Cummins doesn't go full woke on us, Greeno. We can't have that in an Australian. We flirted with that with Michael Clark. Michael Clark was too much of a mainstream media pretty boy, and and look, Greeno will tell you, I was one of Michael Clark's biggest fans through his whole career. He was like one of my favorite batsmen. Wasn't I always backing him up, Greeno?
From day one. Yeah.
Always backing him up. And then even me, like Michael Clark super fan, when he was captain, I was like, stop being a fucking wanker, man. Stop sucking up to the media and getting on board with these bullshit promotional programs. Just play fucking cricket. We didn't win much when he was captain,
Yeah.
So
no, I agree. It's ridiculous. But I saw Cotton Wool was talking about the similar thing this week, and I just didn't bother putting a rundown because we already had cancelled everything. But just saw this: approved sports betting providers for Cricket Australia. No comment on these from Paddy. Bet365, Bet Deluxe, Bluebet, Betfair, Bet Budget, Goldbet, Jimmy Bet, Ladbrokes, Motorella Bet, Moneyball, Palmer Bet, Pickle Bet, Play Up, Pace, Points Bet, Punt 123, Punters Power, someone I can't read, another one I can't read. Southern Cross Bet, Sports Champ, Sports Bet, Swap Stakes, Ted.com, Unibet,
just keeps going.
Winners Bet, Wish Bet.
Jesus.
So what are we looking at? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25,
35,
27 individual gambling sponsorships that Paddy's all good with.
Yeah.
Even though gambling quite an addictive thing causes a lot
you
of,
know why? Because
it's fossil fuels though, Damo.
At some point, Greeno, someone has got in Paddy's ear and told him, these are the companies that you're allowed to stand against, and these are the companies you're not allowed to say a fucking word about, okay?
Yeah.
So go out there and have at it.
I
mean, it's fucking bullshit, man. Like,
it's insane. With that said, any Ukrainian fossil fuel or betting companies that like to get on board, send some money the Block's way.
We will promote anything. Yep.
We will. Get in touch with us on the socials, and hopefully we haven't blocked you. Yep. I might have blocked Ukraine previously.
Look,
so
if you're Ukrainian or Russian, here's our range. Check this out. We can say the shelling of Donbass, or the shelling of Donbass.
Nice,
right? We can do either of them.
It. Yeah. We'll do that for a monetary value that
whatever
seems
you
appropriate
the highest
with the sponsorship.
Yep.
And we'll make sure we throw in very subtle plugs.
We have no problem taking that fucking sweet oil money or gas money or whatever natural resource.
We'll proudly promote it. 100% we will. I saw our friends over at Fergo and the Freak are proudly sponsored by Palmer Bet.
Are they really? Palmer Bet. Clive Palmer.
100%. I don't know if it's Clive, but they got some betting sponsorship on board. And I'll plug in the shit out of it in the episode I listened to the other week.
Good luck to him. Fucking nice, Gary.
100%. And fucking just suck all that teat as much as you can.
Well, I don't have anything against betting. I do have things against people who make big stands about who sponsors them and then ignore other sponsors. I do have a problem with that. If you're going to turn it into a moral fucking crusade, then you better expect to have your morals fucking checked on the way in.
I'm with you.
If you have no morals when it comes to sponsorship, like myself, and I'm just like, well, whoever wants to pay me the most money, then I'll slap your name on my thing. That's fine.
Take the cash.
Yeah,
exactly.
fucking it's sports. It's sports. That's what you do. You know, who wants to pay? I grew up in the era where I used to watch Formula One cars run around with Marlboro written on them. So, you know, it doesn't bother me. You can put whatever you want on the fucking side of the fucking stadium. I don't care. Right? So, yeah, if you're going to stand up for one thing, well, then you make yourself a target and then, hey, you better be standing up against all the other things too. Right, Pat? Right, mate? You know? But of course they don't. It's because it's bullshit. It's bullshit.
100%.
Yeah. Nice, Gary.
Sorry, I didn't mean to distract the end of the show.
Yeah, that's it. We're out of here.
All right. See you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
It's the J. We'll always be bosom buddies, friends, sisters, and pals. We'll always be bosom buddies. If life should reject you, there's me to protect you.
If I say that your tongue is vicious,
if I call you uncouth,
it's simply that.
Who else but a bosom buddy will sit down and tell you that